Hey, hola everybody. How are you? It's Fabi Paulini here. Let me just give me 1 second, make sure that I can share this to the Facebook group and all the different places. Just give me 1 second. If you're watching this on the replay, I'm sorry. Just gotta wait for a couple of seconds while I share this everywhere. Okay. Share on a group. Breakthrough brands that attract. There you go. And sharing it to my personal profile too. And we are ready to go. Okay, done. Hello, hola, how are you everybody? It's Fabi Paulini here, brand strategist and web designer. And I'm here to talk about, it's been a while, by the way. It's been a while since I've done Facebook Live. If you aren't up to what's going on in my life, and the reason why it's been a while, I am 4 months pregnant, and my mind has been a little bit of a challenge over these past 4 months because I've been extremely slow to get everything in place. I have a hard time connecting thoughts, connecting feelings, connecting emotions. If you're a woman and you've been pregnant, or if you are pregnant, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm here, I'm back, and I wanted to start doing these trainings every other week or once a month and sharing different things. And I wanted to talk about today specifically about the 5 most powerful keys that you need to have in place in order to build a multiple 6-figure business with ease, which is the key to all of this, right? Say hi as you're coming on so I know who's there. I see that there's somebody, and a lot of you are going to be on the replay, and it's totally okay. So here's what's going on. I spent a lot of time in my business building my business with hustle. And I know that a lot of you know and relate to exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like insanity, working like crazy, all day long, stuck in my computer, stuck in my chair, like pounding that keyboard nonstop. I would, in theory, stop working early, 6, 7 o'clock, depending on the day, but my mind would never stop, right? I would keep on working and thinking about what I needed to do. Hey, Janelle, what I needed to do to get new clients, or what I needed to do to, improve my messaging, or whatever it was. And I was always working. Even on the weekends, it was just really difficult for me to disconnect. And what ended up happening was that I completely became obsessed with my business, right? Like, it felt like I was so connected to my business that I was almost disconnected from my personal life. Now, I was present with my family, but it kind of felt like I wasn't really there that much because I was always scheming and planning and doing. So, fortunately, all of that has changed, and it has been really, really crazy because it's been very, very different from what I thought it would be, right? So now that I have more balance in my life, where I stopped obsessing over my business and I stopped doing all these things, I am making multiple 6 figures in my business. I'm making over 40, 50K in my business cash every single month. And I'm barely working. Not barely working, but I'm only working 3, 4, maybe 5 hours a day, depending on the day. Usually it's more around 3 hours. Hey, Sandra. Hey, so glad to have you here. So, it's very crazy that, and kind of counterintuitive, I would say, almost, because we have this belief sometimes that the harder we work, the better results we're going to get. The more that we put into it, the more money we're going to make, or whatever it is. And the experience that I have had over the past, August we're in, 8 months, 7, 8 months, has been the total opposite, right? The less that I work, the more money that I make. And that's what I kind of wanted to come here to talk to you guys about, what needs to be in place. Wait, let me get comfortable here. Let me get comfortable. What needs to be in place in your life and in your business for you to be able to build a 6-figure business with ease, right? And there's a big difference between making 6 figures and making 6 figures consistently with ease. Now, when I say 6 figures, I mean, in the whole year. My plan, or my vision for it, is in the next 1 to 2 years to be able to hit 7 figures in my business. And I totally know it's going to happen. So, but I want to make sure that I'm doing it with ease. And I want to share with you guys what you need to have in place for that to be able to have that happen. Because, I think that sometimes in business, love you too, Sandra. Sometimes in business, we are so focused on like, I want to make money, I want to have more clients, or I need to do this, or I have this goal and I have this ambition, I want to do all these things, that we kind of forget that, the why behind it, right? And we've all heard about the why. But what I mean with this is more in a practical sense, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why you're building your business and you're making money is that you can enjoy more, like your life more, right? I mean, that's what it's like for me. And it's very ironic that we're building a business and so focused on our business that we are not really living our lives. So, for me, it's really, really important that you're able to bring those two things together, that you are able to make sure that you're enjoying your life while you're building a business that is successful. Hopefully that makes sense for you, but we tend to forget that. And what I want to teach you today is about those 5 really powerful keys that you really need to have in place so that you can have both. You can have a life and you can have a successful business. And it can be a 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, 7-figure, whatever you want to have business. And it's amazing. Hey, Lisa. Okay, so 5 things. First thing that you need to have is mindset. And this might be a little bit obvious, but I want to kind of ground this concept, or ground what I mean when I talk about mindset, because a lot of times, and I have done this in the past and there's nothing wrong with it, we think about like, let me visualize what I want, let me get through those limiting beliefs, let me do this, let me do that, and all of it is fundamental, all of it is essential, obviously, but in a more grounded and more practical sense, what happens when I mean mindset is that there's going to be obstacles that we're going to all have in the way. Hey, Kimberly, I feel so excited to see all of you guys connecting because it's been a while, right? I know I've been disappeared. Anyways, we're all going to have obstacles that are going to pop up in the way because it's impossible not to, right? You're going to have things happen. You're going to have problems with clients. You're going to have problems with your ads or with your marketing or with this or that, because it's very normal. And if your mindset isn't in the right place, it means that you're going to get very unfocused, right? So what happens is that self-doubt and trigger, like all these little, like that little monster that lives inside of us is going to start growing. And if you don't take care of that mindset, if you don't make sure that everything is in place and sort of controlled, right, it can really take over, and you go into anxiety and you go into head mode, right? Which means that you're always worrying, you're always thinking, overthinking, analyzing, what am I supposed to do? What happens? What if? And you get into that what if mentality. And that what if mentality, which is negative, it's not like, hey, what if I win the lottery tomorrow? It's more like, what if my business falls apart and I go bankrupt, right? It's usually more like that. If that takes over, what happens is that you don't become resourceful. When you're spiraling out of control into this really negative mentality, like just very controlling, you don't become resourceful. You're trying to think about what's going to happen in the future and worry about a problem that doesn't exist instead of staying in the now and trying to figure out right now, what is it that I need to do at this very moment in order to fix this problem, or in order, not even fix this problem, but in order to get ahead. Like, what is the next step that needs to happen for me to move forward in my business? So, it's all about where the focus goes, right? And if your mindset is out of control, if you're like letting any little trigger that happens take a hold of you and it's spiraling, you're spiraling out of control for a very long time, it means that you're not resourceful. You're not in the right place. You're always like trying to figure things out and going crazy instead of saying, okay, let's go. Let me do what needs to be done this moment. I'm excited. I can make it happen. I'm ready. The energy's in the right place. I'm going to bring in the clients. I'm going to make it happen, and boom, done, So my experience with this is very interesting because, I can see it very clearly. I have been working on my mindset for the past few years, and for me, it has been fundamental in where I am right now. Like looking at where I am right now, making multiple 5 figures a month. And looking at where I was 2 years ago when I was making maybe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month versus $50,000 a month, the real thing that's been a difference, or the real difference in both scenarios, has been my mindset. And when I look at what would happen then, is that I would always be in scarcity, right? Always being like, this is not going to work. I'm not going to get clients. I'm going to fail. This is going to be horrible. And that obsession and trying to control every single penny that was coming in, and trying to control my business and trying to control everything, where I wasn't letting go. And then I would have these triggers where, let's say, for example, and maybe you guys relate with this or to this, I would have sales calls and I would be like, oh my God, that was such a good call. And this is going to be a person that's going to become a client. And that person would fall through, like that sale fell through, it would spiral me out of control and in fear, right? And let me know if you relate to this. And I would spend maybe a week or 2 weeks thinking about like, fuck, sorry for the cursing, but I'd be like, fuck, what if this is going to happen again and again? What if it means that I can't get a client anymore? What if I'm not good enough? What if it means that, what if I never make a client? Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? And I would, just one little event of one person not becoming a client, one sale falling through, it would spiral me out of control for a week or 2 weeks, where I would be, and you might relate to as well, when these like highs and lows, right? Crying, happy, crying, happy, crying, happy. I'm going to do it. I can't. Like that, like an insane person multiple times a day, where my husband was like, are you insane? There's something chemically wrong here, because it's like insanity, right? And when I look at what's happening right now, where I am in my business, where I'm making, like I said, multiple 5 figures, $50,000 a month cash, it's not that I don't have triggers. We all have triggers. There's nobody out there that doesn't have triggers, I don't think. And there's not that I don't have those moments where my mindset gets like in the way, but I'm so aware of it. I am so able to recognize when something is off that I quickly look into it. And I'm like, I'm not letting you take control. Let me look at it. Let me figure out what's going on. Let me kind of flip it around, reframe it, and let me move past it, right? So what happens is that before one little trigger could put me into that negative spiral for a couple of weeks, now it maybe is a few hours, or maybe it's a day at most. And then the next day I wake up, done, that's it, over. Let's move through it. And I move past them quickly. So if you're looking to build a multiple 6-figure, 7-figure business, you really need to put your mindset into priority. Like, it has to be a priority. Yes, obviously, what I do is brand strategy. I help people with marketing. I help them with their messaging. All of that is fundamental, but none of it works if the mindset isn't in place. And I always tell this to my clients. I always say, listen, I'm going to build, I can build you the best, the most beautiful website in the world, your brand on point, marketing, everything's great. But if your mindset is off, none of it will work. And that is up to you. I can help you. I can guide you through it. We can we can talk about mindset. I can help you through it. But you need to be aware of what's going on and what's popping up for you. So that's kind of the first real power, the first powerful key that you need to make sure that you have in place in order to build that successful business with ease, again, is mindset. And obviously ease ties into it. It's clearly, right? It's clear how having the right mindset brings ease, because I look back to when I would spiral out of control for a week or 2 weeks of that was not easy. Well, now it's I could have a day or a few hours where I feel bad, and I'm like, okay, done, let's move on. That's it. And again, it's not that I'll just go on. Anyways, that's the first one. I could go on. I think I could talk about mindset the whole time today, but I'm going to move past that into the other 4 things. So the second thing is obviously having a very, very solid brand in place. And what I mean when I talk about brand, I really mean about your messaging more than anything, more than the website and the design and all that stuff, which I do. It's really about having a lot of clarity on who you are, having a very, very strong core message that really relates what you do with why you do it different than anybody else, right? Because at the end of the day, unfortunately or fortunately, I kind of think it's fortunately, to be honest, there's going to be competition, right? There's always going to be competition. There's always going to be a lot of people out there doing some sort of version of what you're doing at the same time. And if you're not able to, wait, let me just make sure that, for some reason I can't see all the comments. Okay. Just so you guys know, I can't see all the comments for some reason. I can see that Christine commented. Okay, sorry. Okay, just so that you know, I can't see all of them. So anyways, all right, sorry, going back to this. So when I talk about rock solid brand, what am I saying? Pregnancy, right? So it's really about differentiation, right? Because there's going to be a lot of people out there doing some sort of version of what you're doing. And if you aren't really aware of, like, what is it that I'm doing that is different? How is it that I can really help my audience? Why me? Why me versus that person? And having that confidence too, which is the hard part, because I think that what happens, and I see it with my clients all the time, is that they're like, well, I'm good, but I don't know if I'm the best. It's like that lack of confidence. But when you really understand those different elements that make you different, and when you really understand what like your core message is all about and all these things, it really makes a powerful difference in the way that you communicate and in the way that you have confidence in your own business. So really, that second powerful key is having that like nailed, like you're nailing it. You know exactly what you're talking about. You know exactly who your audience is, which is another important one. Speaking about that, Tashina, who just joined, one of my clients, she's like amazing with her clients. Like she understands everything. And when she came to me, she was like, I don't know who my audience is. Anyways, long story. But having that clarity about who your audience is, what their needs are, what their pain points are, what they're going through, and then being able to bridge the gap between where they are and where you are, and being able to clearly let them know, like, hey, here's why I'm different. Here's what I'm bringing to the table versus everybody else. Like why you need to hire me. That's going to make your life so much easier in order to build a multiple six-figure business, right? Because you don't have to spend all of this time convincing people like, hey, I'm so amazing. Buy from me. Why? Why do I buy from you? Well, because it's a good price or whatever. Like if you're stuck there, if not understanding the benefits of what you're doing, the results of what they're getting from working with you, why you're different, what they need, and building out programs, systems, courses, whatever you're doing that is built out exactly for them, it really is going to make your life a lot easier if we're doing things like that. So that second powerful key that you need to have in place in order to build that business with ease is your brand. And obviously, and this is always a discussion that is interesting regarding like, what like does the design count in there? Does the website count? Does all of this, do I really need it? And my thing with this is, listen, you don't need a website to make money. Clearly you don't, right? You don't need to have a visual brand to make money, but you do need to have your core message nailed first. And second, it's obviously going to help you. Like it depends. Like, do you want to spend your life on Facebook groups sharing stuff or like in Instagram posting pictures every single day, 5 times a day to be able to get clients? Or do you want to make things easy because you have a platform, because you're bringing people in, because you're showing them your value, because you don't have to struggle to convince them of how credible you are or how good you are in what you do? And specifically with building a multiple six-figure business, which is what I'm talking about today, you clearly need to have some sort of platform in place and brand in place, because it's very difficult for you to get to that next level without it. So connecting that to the third key. Key number 1 was mindset. Key number 2 is a rock solid brand. Key number 3 is structure, right? So it connects right to it. And with structure, there's a few things that I mean. The first part of it is lead generation, right? So you need to have a very, very strong lead generation system that is scalable. So, if you are kind of still using something very like posting on Facebook groups, and that is your way to get clients, that's what you're doing, and it's just about posting here and there or private messaging people or reaching out to people one-on-one randomly, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to scale your business into a multiple 6-figure or 7-figure business, because it takes a lot more work, right? Or you could do it without ease, I guess. I mean, it's always possible, but it's really going to be hard. And having a very, very strong lead generation system is really going to be fundamental for you to be able to take that to the next level. The other part of that is having systems in general, right? And, I know of a case of somebody, I have something in my eye, of somebody who had a 7-figure business, 7 figures, making over $1 million. And it happened because she had such a really strong mindset and such a really great brand, clear message, clear in everything, but she had no systems in place. And what happened was that it all fell apart. And now this is a person who's struggling to make money. After last year she was at 7 figures, this year she's kind of like trying to find her voice and trying to make it happen, which is pretty insane, but really not that much, because unfortunately that brand and that core message is going to get you to a certain point, but you really need structure. Like, it's very, very difficult for you to grow your business without having a little bit of predictability. And obviously we don't have complete control because we don't know. But I can tell you in my case, I know how many calls are going to come in approximately a week. And I know that I have my systems working. I know my conversion rates. I have my systems in place. I have things that allow me to see how much money I'm going to make approximately each month, right? And that means that I can clearly see the way to grow. So when I said at the beginning of this that in the next year or 2 years I'm reaching 7 figures, this is me not speculating or kind of being like hopeful or saying it to be positive. It's because I literally know it's going to happen, right? Like, I know with my numbers that if I invest a little bit more in ads to be able to scale my lead generation a little bit more, well, it's obviously going to reach to that number because I know that my conversion systems work, and I know that my lead generation is so strong, so powerful that it's just going to grow my business, and I can start expanding to other things. So when I talk about structure, it's about those systems, but it's also about having clarity about where to grow. So going back to my example, I do kind of there's 2 ways to work with me right now. One of them is working with me one-on-one, which is limited because I do all of the work one-on-one. So I don't have, other designers that work for me, or I don't have a developer that works for me. I still program websites myself, and I still design logos myself. I still do the coaching calls. I'm still helping people one-on-one with building their lead generation strategy. So that means that there's a limit to how many clients I can take a month. So I know that I can't scale that part of my business. But on the other hand, I have a program called Breakthrough Brand, which is a 8-week program, online program where I'm doing live Q&A calls every single week. I'm active. I'm there in the community. I'm serving my clients, but I'm doing it in a way that is more scalable, right? So it means that I know I'm very clear that if I want to scale my business, that's the way for me to scale it, not through my one-on-one, because my one-on-one is limited. It's just going to get more exclusive, meaning that I'm probably going to be raising prices more and more, so that I can limit how many people I want to take on at the same time. I am already limiting it, but I'm limiting more and bringing more people to my group program, which is really powerful too, right? So I'm very clear on how to scale my business. So when I talk about structure, you need to have the vision without having the total clarity. It doesn't mean that I'm never going to launch something else, or that I'm not going to do at some point some sort of workshop, or I don't know. Like, I kind of think that maybe I might do some sort of live event sometime in the future, but I know right now that if I want to hit 7 figures, it's by scaling Breakthrough Brand, which is my program, and scaling my one-on-one if I wanted to add more of a team to it, but I don't really right now. So when I talk about that third thing about how to be able to build a multiple 6-figure business or a 7-figure business with ease, it's about having the structure in terms of your lead generation and in terms of your marketing, but also about, okay, how do I scale? What do I need to scale? Where can I grow? What do I have within my portfolio, let's call it, of products and services that I can take to the next level, which is my signature program, or which is my whatever it is that you want to do, and having those numbers in place. Because if you're thinking, okay, I'm only doing one-on-one, which is totally okay. I just added the group program like 3 months ago, so it's really relatively new. But if you wanted to stick with one-on-one coaching and you're like, okay, I want to scale that, how do you scale that? apart from raising your prices, right? Because there's always going to be a limit unless you're like, okay, let me build out a team and have various coaches that are going to help these people out or whatever. So you need to have that clarity around that structure within your own business. Okay. So that's a third thing. Number 1 is mindset. Number 2 is a rock solid brand. Number 3 is structure. Number 4 is a team. And this is still what I'm in the process of building out. But definitely, if you want to build a 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, whatever, you want to build a business with ease, you need to have some sort of team in place. And that team could be different things for you. So it's ironic that I say that when I tell you that I don't have a designer or I don't have a developer or I don't have these people, but I'm doing those things myself. However, there are things that I have personally delegated in my own business that have changed my life forever. So up until a few months ago, I was taking on every single sales call that I had. For example, just giving you an example of what I personally did within my own business. And because I have a really strong lead generation system, so I have a very powerful marketing strategy set out for myself, it means that I have approximately anywhere between 8 and 10 sales calls each week. For me personally, that meant that I had between 8 and 10 hours on the phone with people on sales calls. And apart from that, you also have to do follow-up sometimes, because sometimes you don't sell on that first call, so you're doing follow-up. So it meant that it was taking a lot of time, right, for me. And I didn't realize how much time it was taking and how much energy it was taking until I hired a salesperson. Now, I don't recommend anybody hiring a salesperson until you are like really good at sales. Like, you know your systems, you know what you want to talk about, you know your brand inside out, you know how to help people, you know how you're serving them, and you're very clear on what you want, right? And when I hired a team member, because she's really not a salesperson, she's a lot more than that. This is a person that's part of my team who's looking at where we can grow, what we can do, all these different things, which is Deb. You guys probably know, some of you know her. I mean, some of you are my clients, so you probably know her. And that made a huge difference for me, because like off the bat, it cut 10 hours of my life, right? Like, it gave me back 10 hours of my life, which I have to admit that at first I was completely freaked out about it. I was like, I have too much time. So I came from working, hustle. And now I'm like, oh my God, what do I do with all of this time? Like, do I really have a life now? Do I really get to do all these things? What is this insanity of me being able to do so much? I wasn't used to it, right? So it was kind of crazy at first. And then it was like, wait a minute, I have a life. I can enjoy myself. I can do stuff with my daughter, my husband. So anyways, but having that team, having that person, in my case, to delegate, that opened up my schedule completely. And what happens when you have a team, whatever that team looks like for you, because it might be hiring a VA, it might be hiring a salesperson, it might be hiring a Facebook ads person. So I have my Facebook guy, who's my husband, the singer, same guy. He loves doing Facebook ads. He's a kind of a geek in that stuff. So he's the one that does my Facebook ads. There you go, part of my team. So I have my husband doing Facebook ads. I have Deb doing sales calls and helping me with kind of a little bit of project management, sort of, like an online business manager, sort of, is what I see her like. And then I have somebody that takes care of Pinterest for me, everything that has to do with Pinterest. So I have people here and there doing different things. I don't personally have a VA, for example, which is still kind of crazy, and I'm probably going to hire somebody soon, but I haven't hired one yet. And it's about understanding what you need. What is it that you want? Like, I don't need a VA because I don't really need one right now. That's why I haven't hired somebody. I'm thinking of hiring a designer to help me out with certain things, but I'm not there yet. So it's really about thinking about what's going to give you personally more ease in your own business and what's going to make your life better. Hey, Susie, so glad to see you here. I miss you. So, it's about that, because here's what happens. The moment where you start delegating things where you're not an expert at, right? Like, if you're not an expert in web design, you don't need to be designing your website. What are you doing? You need to be doing stuff that is keeping your mind as the CEO of your business, right? You're thinking about, okay, where can I grow? What can I do? How can I improve my lead generation? Or how can I improve this? Or how do I get my mindset? You're doing things that are building your business. You're not becoming an employee of your own business, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're like working, killing yourself, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. That's not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be like masterminding. You know what I mean? Like, this is my mastermind face. You know, you're supposed to be doing stuff that is there to help you grow and help you be there to help you feel better too. So that's kind of what I want you to start thinking about a little bit in terms of building your team. And then the last thing that you need, I'm going to recap the 4 of them before I say it. So the first one is mindset. Fundamental. Second one is having a rock solid brand, messaging, you know, having a lot of clarity on your audience. Susie says it's such a bonus lunchtime treat to catch this. Great to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Third thing is structure, you know, both in part of lead generation, to having a platform, to having systems, to having clarity of where to grow. The fourth thing is to have a team. And then the fifth thing is support, right? And when I talk about support, there's really 2 types of support that you need to focus on in order to build that business that you want to build with ease. The first one is around your friends and your family, the people that you surround yourself with. And these are people that should be there to elevate you constantly, right? So, you know, for example, I'll give you an example. One of the examples of what I do, I have the best husband in the world. I always tell him he's the best coach ever, and he's not a coach. He's a singer, but he's a really good coach. That always helps, obviously, having that sort of support. But sometimes you don't have that, right? Sometimes you don't have that. You know, I had a client who was telling me recently that it was really difficult for her because she doesn't have any support at home at all. So you need to start surrounding yourself with people who are going to give you that support that you really need. You know, one thing that I have is a mastermind group, and it's just like a fun group where it's 4 friends. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all coaches and doing different things, where it's normal to talk about things like, oh, I made 40K this month. How much did you make? Well, I made 25. Oh, cool. You know, where you're normalizing those conversations, and it's just elevating you, right? Because I remember in January, I went to a workshop in Orlando. And for me, it was just so crazy how people were talking about, like, what do you think? Do you think I should price my program at 10 or 20K? Well, I think 20K. Yeah, you're right. And I was just like in awe, because I was like, these are not normal conversations that regular people have. This is insanity, awesome insanity, but it's pretty crazy. So I think that when I talk about support, it's about having those people who you can have those conversations with. And it's normal when you can say, like, I'm like, my mindset is off. I have these blocks, and they're not like, what the fuck is a block? What are you talking about? I have no clue where you know what I mean? Like, it's normal. It's okay. And people that understand you, sometimes it can be your partner, it can be your spouse, it could be your parents, your brother, your sister, whatever. And sometimes you need to build that group of friends outside of your like regular network and surround yourself with those people. We have, in my group, we do calls every week, like every Friday. And then we also have Marco Polo, which I don't know if you know what it is, but it's an app where I'll show you without pressing play. Okay, there it is. Where you can just send messages. Here I am yesterday. Okay, you're sending video messages, and we're constantly just sending videos to each other. It kind of feels like you're in an office almost, where you're working with all these people, and it's really, really cool. So for me, it's really helpful to have something like that. But then the other type of support that you really need to have is a coach. And it might be a different place, depending on where you are in your business, right? It might be a coach to help you with mindset. Last year, I paid $10,000 just for a mindset coach, because I knew that I needed that in place in order to take my business to the next level. Sometimes it's a business coach, just somebody to help you with brand strategy, with web design, with marketing, with whatever it is, which is me, by the way, if you need that. But whatever it is that you need to make sure that you're very clear on where your needs are, so that you can take it to the next level. So, you know, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward. I mean, we have a limit on our knowledge, you know, and you can read and you can be as self-taught as you want to be self-taught. But if you really want to take it to the next level, you need to have that kind of like that sounding board, somebody from the outside validating your ideas and giving you clarity on who you are, on what you need to do, on your mindset, and somebody who knows things and who's objective, right? Not somebody who's subjective or biased to what you're saying, right? So having that coach that's going to lead you is really fundamental for you to build that business as you want. Now, that doesn't mean that you always need a coach. Right now, for example, I'm at a point where I don't need a coach. I don't want a coach. I know where I'm going. I'm clear. My mindset is on point right now. I'm good with my marketing. It's working. I don't really need a coach at this point. I know that there's going to be a point in the future where I'm going to want to hire people. I'm going to want to work with people because I'm going to be ready for it. But right now, I'm in a good place. I don't need it. I feel like I'm very clear about my brand. I'm very clear about my marketing, my mindset. I know what I need to do. If I ever catch myself, though, at a point where I'm like, you know what, I feel like I need somebody to push me to the next level or to help me do this or that, you can bet your ass I'm going to hire somebody, because I wouldn't be where I am right now if I hadn't hired all the people that I have hired up until now. You know, we need that sometimes. But like I'm saying, it doesn't mean that you always need it. So anyways, that being said, 5 keys to build a multiple 6-figure business with ease. That's the real key. Mindset, brand, structure, team, and support. That is really what you need. I mean, this is it. This is the core of it. And what I want you to do is, and I'll write them down here just so that you have mindset. Number 2 is brand. Number 3 is structure. Number 4 is a team. And number 5 is support. So what I want you to do with this is really sit down and look at those 5 things and see what you're missing, right? Where you're like, well, my mindset is on point, but I have like the crappiest brand in the world. Or I have a wonderful brand, my mindset is on point, but I don't have a structure, or I don't have support, or I don't have a team. And look, my husband's cooking downstairs. So look at those things that you are doing and basically look at how to figure out what needs to be in place for you to be able to take your business to the next level with ease. Again, I go back to it a lot because it's kind of like a big thing for me right now. I'm thinking about like, okay, what do I need to have in place to have ease, to make things as simple as possible for myself? You know, right now, like I'm saying, I'm only working 3 hours, 4 hours. It depends on the day. I'm working a few hours. I start working maybe at 10:30. I'm working out in the morning. And then from working out, I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down on a computer. But there's no pressure. There's no anxiety around it. It's just fun and ease and me working for my clients, and creativity is flowing and everything is easy. Making money is the easiest thing in the world for me right now. And this is how it should be for all of you. It should be like this for all of us. It doesn't need to be a struggle. And if it's a struggle, it's because one of those 5 things is not in place. Like you're not aligned, your brand, you're not clear about your brand, you don't have a structure, you don't have a team, you don't have support. So look at those things and figure out what you need to have. And if it's support that you need, I am more than happy to help you out. You can, I'll share the link right here. You can book a call with me and Deb at FabioPaolini.com/call. And we can totally help you out. See what's missing, see what you need. And if it's a fit, great. And if it's not a fit, great too. Like it doesn't, I really don't get stuck on that stuff anymore at all. You know, for me right now, in terms of client, kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of like what triggers me, if a call doesn't work out, if a sale falls through, I'm like, thank you. Not a good fit either. Like not you for me or me for you, right? Like I had just total faith that I'm always bringing the right people to my business. So I have zero pressure around calls. We have zero pressure around it. Like if it's a good fit and we can help you, wonderful. I'm here for you. I can totally help you with your marketing, with your messaging, with your brand, with your design, with your strategy. I can help you out with all of that. But if it's not me, you don't need me. You need somebody else, or you don't need anybody, whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. And that's what it should be like. That's what business should be like. It should just be easy and fun. And, you know, you're just focused on serving people, not focused on, I need to make money. And for a long time, for me, it was about hitting a goal. Like I would hit 10K. I'd be like, oh, but I want 15. And I hit 15. And I'd be like, but I want 20. And then it was like this obsession with these numbers and these goals and these things that I needed to do. And I'm like, that's not where I am at all anymore. I mean, I'm hitting these great, huge numbers, and I'm like, okay, cool, wonderful. That's great. I have a life that's more important to me right now, I can be there for my family. That's more important to me right now than making money. I don't care how much money I make. I mean, it's not that I don't care, but it's more about serving. It's more about seeing impact. That is really important to me, and I have a few clients, right? My clients are always amazing, really, and I'm very grateful and very happy to be able to be serving these people. I have a few clients right now where I can see, I have one client in particular where I can visually see how I'm changing her life, because this is somebody who is almost bankrupt, and she was like, I'm all in. I need you. And I can see how this is impacting her life. And for me, that is more valuable to how much money I make. I don't care how much money I make. How awesome is it to be able to transform a life? Thank you so much, Tashina. I love working with you too. Tashina is not the person I'm talking about right now, but Tashina is an amazing, amazing client that I'm working with. And I'm really grateful to have you as a client as well. I love every single one of my clients. And for me, it's just so easy. It's so easy, and this is what it should be like for you too. Why is it easy? Because all of those things that I talk about, those 5 keys are in place, but also because those 5 things are in place, I'm attracting people who are perfect for me, people who I know I can help and who are changing their lives and their businesses, because it's a perfect fit, so everything is easy. The moment I sit down to work with Tashina, for example, and I'm working on her logo, or I'm working on her website, or I'm working on her messaging, it's like the easiest thing in the world. It comes so easy to me because we are so aligned. So that's what you want. You don't want to be struggling with clients. And I talked about this with Tashina, how important it is for you to not to have to go out there to convince people, like, hire me, please, I can save you. No. What are you doing? If people want to work with you, they're going to work with you, period. But obviously, for them to be able to work with you, you need to have a very strong core message and differentiation so that they know why you're awesome, and then an awesome lead generation strategy that's going to bring them in, right? But then if you have those things in place, you're going to attract the right people. Like, it's hard for you not to attract the right people. So anyways, all this to say, it should be easy. It needs to be easy, because it's about, and I think I'm going to make this a motto, like, getting your life back. That's what it's about. Because all of us, we built our businesses for freedom. And we're sacrificing our freedom to build our businesses, which is okay. Obviously we need to hustle and we need to work. And I'm not against that. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be, but I also believe that there needs to be a balance, right? Where my daughter comes in and she wants to play with me in an afternoon, I can be there for her and be like, you know what? I'm going to stop working. She's going to be 3 next month, and she's only this age once in her life. And if I'm not there, I'm not there. And I miss it, and I don't want to miss it. I want to be there for her. I want to serve my clients. I want to make money. I want to have a life. And that's what it needs to be like. It needs to be about ease. It needs to be about breakthrough, but breakthrough for me is about making money, serving, not in this order, by the way, making money, serving, and being there for my family too. And being there for myself. Like, you know how grateful I am that during the first trimester of my pregnancy, I was able to sleep the whole time and still make money, right? Because it was like, I was just so exhausted. I'm so grateful that I had everything in place for that to happen. I don't know what I would have done without it. So anyways, that's it. I love doing this. It was so fun. I'm going to start doing these more and more often. It's been such a long time since I did a training like this. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that this was fun for you. And if you haven't seen my other training, I'll send it over bit.ly/precision to 6. The other training that I have, the masterclass that I have on what you need to do to position yourself as a 6-figure business. And you can check it out. I just shared it in the comment, or book a call with us if you want to talk to us and see how we can help. And if not, that's totally okay. I'm still here for you. I struggled with that a little bit. All right. I hope that you have an amazing day. I'm off to eat lunch. I'm hungry. I'm finding out the sex of the baby this Friday. So it's a boy. I already know it's a boy. Anyways, love you guys. Ciao.